My nose hairs. All right. We are going to reconvene the committee of the whole meeting and start to plow through our agenda tonight. So the first item on the agenda is approval of the committee of the whole meeting minutes of March 24th. Everyone should have gotten a copy of the minutes sent to them. Does anybody have any modifications, corrections, additions to the minutes? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement to purchase a new ladder engine. This is from Public Health and Safety. Ms. Michael?
We're going to hold this and not move it at this current time. We're going to keep it where it is.
Right. Okay, well, yeah, the mayor said we would
Yes.
postpone this a while. Is that okay with everyone?
I had a question.
Sure. No, you can.
I'm sorry. I had a question. Last week, there was a long discussion about this as it came up, and many aspects of it were discussed. I apologize for missing the meeting, being out of town, but I wondered if tonight we would talk about some of those issues that were brought up, but just came up kind of, we're going to talk about them some. If not, I would like to make some comments about the replacement of the fire engine at this time, if it's not appropriate.
I mean, it's kind of a moot point right now, but you're welcome to make comments if you would like. I think when we are closer to having more discussion on it, because a lot of factors can happen at this point, but you're free to bring it up and ask questions. We had brought it forward to discuss, but
Yeah, and I thought we indicated that we were going to, at this
but
week's
since we're not
meeting,
doing
make
anything
some.
right now.
Go ahead. Let's hear
It
what
won't
your
take a
concerns are.
real long time. And I apologize that I wasn't at the meeting last
okay.
week to talk about it. The issue that came up is the replacement of a fire engine, the cost of it being $1.8 million. And there were many things discussed about it. And so it comes down to, I think, an issue of where do we put our money, and do we have enough money to put it there now, and in what way would we do it? In background on it a little bit, in the past 5 years now, we have replaced a fire engine in 2021. We've had a new EMS vehicle that we've purchased. We've also had a fire inspector vehicle that we have filled in the last couple years. Also, on our staffing, in the past 5 years, we have increased 3 firefighters, 1 inspector, fire inspector, and moved a secretary from part-time to full-time. That's a personnel expense of about $400,000 a year that is going on every single year. And it may be even more if we are filling to a minimum of 5 instead of a minimum of 4. And I thought we were just filling to a minimum of 4. I am not against replacing a vehicle that's old, but there are many questions about it right now, whether we replace it by borrowing money to do it. We also, there are many questions that are not answered because I don't think we asked them, but questions like, if this is our 3rd vehicle, how many times have we used this vehicle where it's bumped up to be number 2, and how often have we had to use it as a number 2? This is going to be the 3rd vehicle that we're replacing. We don't have the staff to send 3 vehicles out at one time, and so do we even have, we could never send out 3 together. We talk a lot about maintenance and if it's going to begin to break down, but if I believe we look at our records, the maintenance on this vehicle has been exemplary, and the amount of monies that we have spent on it, of course there are going to be things that you have to spend on it, but the expenses, we should look at what those expenses are to keep it in service, and where's the balance come with this. If we do need to move to this, I think A better path would be for us to set aside money for the 8 years or whatever, $250,000 a year for 8 years until we get to the $2 million to do it, rather than borrow money, rather than put some of our capital money toward that. We have had many capital expenses here, and it's a burden. You know, we talk about if we take this money, we talk about inflation. Okay, inflation's going to push this up if we delay it. Mr. Harper's point, I think, was an excellent one, which is if we delay other projects, the inflation's going to go up on those projects too. You know, so, and we have great needs in a safety building, City Hall building, and where does it factor in relation to that? You know, as members of City Council, it's our responsibility to decide how to allocate the resources that we have, and you do a prioritization of them. I think it's a very big issue, and I think that much discussion would need to take place before we move forward with a purchase like this, especially with our purchase. And I won't go on, there's more things to say, but those are just the comments I wanted to give. Thank you.
Would you, since it's going to be till June, do you want to move it back to committee?
Well, yeah, that's the question for council. Do you want to, I mean, at this point, this is just the discussion whether we move it on to a vote.
Which we're not going to
If
right
we're
now.
not going to, then that's up to you if you want to put it back into your committee.
Do you,
But do you want to wait till June, I guess, is the question? Or do you want to continue discussing it next month? Because there's only 1 month difference.
I mean, we can wait till June to, as what the mayor asked.
And if we wait for 6 or 8 years, you could be close to 1.8, I mean, rephrase that, 2.8 to 3 million for that.
You okay putting it on your agenda for May?
We can.
Okay. Is that okay? Council okay with that?
Because it's a critical vehicle.
All right, well, we will not move it on, and we'll put it back for the May Public Health and Safety meeting. Moving on, the next item on the agenda is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Perrin Asphalt, some Streets and Sidewalk Committee. Mr. Harper?
Yes, this is the annual summer paving program. As you heard the mayor mention, we're at about 65% of all city streets being paved since this levy was passed. And we continue to work towards 100%, so the budget was put out. There's a map of the streets. Has that been put online yet? We usually post that online.
Now, does this contract include the sidewalks too? Is the whole ball of wax? Okay, and I believe we were sent from your engineer, assistant engineer, all the particulars regarding the streets and sidewalks.
And that is new this year. We've tried to include additional funds to upgrade city sidewalks, and this committee hopes that that's part of the program moving forward every year. We have a lot of sidewalks that need repaired as well.
Speaking of sidewalks, Matt, in the breakdown that they gave us, it listed all the spots where the sidewalks were going to be repaired, and also split them out by wards and listed the wards. And I know that I think we had approximately, was it $150,000 that we were dividing up? There had been some talk about trying to do it evenly across the 4 wards, and I see that, you know, all wards are getting some sidewalk replacement, and it appears that in some places there is more spent. And I wondered, is that a function of prioritization of the sidewalks that need replaced the most, and that's why those areas got more, or how did that happen?
I believe that is.
Okay.
It also looks like it's going to coincide with some of the street repairs
Okay.
that we're doing this summer as well.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a
But it was,
combination of those two.
yeah, that was the hope, that it was prioritized by the
Okay.
most needed first.
Okay.
And there, I think everything that's on this list, we could probably quadruple that.
Yeah.
As far as priority wise, and still
Yeah,
have
oh, I
areas.
think it's a great start, yeah.
It's a start. but we know that there's many other areas that need addressed as well, and hopefully we get to those very soon.
Yeah, and if we continue to do this each year, we can make great progress on it, just like we did on our street paving program.
Exactly.
Okay,
That's
thank
the-
you.
That's the hope.
Any other comments or questions? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance,
Would you like to put this in the consent agenda?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Is that okay? And just a reminder, we can always, any one of you can always take it out of the consent agenda up until we actually vote on the consent agenda. Next item on the agenda is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to terminate a contract with Eastern Power and Gas. This is from Utilities, Mr. Moskin?
Yes, and the purpose of that is because there isn't much choice in that because of Eastern Power and Gas had actually backed out of their contract with, I can't say just Ravenna, but a multitude of municipalities. And the reason of that is because of the projected increase of price, which no one knows exactly what that is on this particular day.
And we had a visit at your committee meeting by Mr. Bellish last week. So this is just the first step. Mr. Content, will be having, is Mr. Bellish or somebody providing us with the actual termination?
Yes, I have it right
You
here.
already have it? Okay.
Yeah, I have it right here. That's
So
just.
then the next step will be deciding how we're going to proceed.
Yep.
He suggested, I believe it was Archer? was
Yeah,
the-
Archer Energy, that's
So
who,
we'll put
that's,
that on your committee meeting for discussion.
In May.
Yeah.
So the next, we could either go with what Mr. Bellish recommends, or if we do not like that, we could go outside of that and decide on a separate contractor for our own residents or business, whatever that may be.
Thank you.
Yes.
Question?
I did have a question. Again, I watched the presentation online and listened to it, and a central question that it's just kind of for my information that I would like to know, and if we are able to answer it, how is it that a contract that's entered into by two parties can be unilaterally ended by one just because their price went up? My understanding of a contract was they took that risk. If the price of the gas went down, they were going to make more money on it. If it went up, they were going to absorb it.
And-
I just don't feel that I've gotten an answer on how that is possible. And it might be a quick answer, and if we get it, fine, move on, and don't keep beating the dead
We'll
horse.
ask
But
Mr.
it's-
Semino to answer that, but I will say it's not just that, because prices really haven't gone up. It's the speculation that prices will go up.
Yes.
But why were we in a contract? What's the essence of the sine non qua?
There's a
Yeah,
provision in the contract.
Yeah.
It says that they have the ability to indicate they want to terminate the contract. What it says is that, I believe there was a 60-day time period that we were then supposed to negotiate with them over how the contract would be modified. And if we did not come up with any resolution during that time period, they then had the ability to say, in 10 days, we want to terminate. So I think that's where we are.
It's kind
So
of
it's
like
part
when
of
your
the
insurance,
contract.
it's like when your insurance company says all these different things are acts of God that we're not responsible for. It's kind of like categorizing it.
Did we have a provision in the same contract that if we didn't like how things were going, we could, get rid of the contract
I
arbitrarily?
don't think there was.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if the gas price went way down. Okay. No, but I suppose we do have the option to sue them. I don't know if it would do any good.
They did it with so many municipalities,
I know.
and it's so widespread and prevalent and accepted. We got nothing to do. I'll stop complaining, I'm sorry.
You're,
We all feel your frustration.
you're understood, though.
Yes. Okay, so back to the ordinance. What is the pleasure of the committee? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Sodol?
Since they did it to so many people, why don't we look at getting a class action suit against them?
I was
They
just-
screwed everybody.
There's other cities that have filed class action
Let's
lawsuits.
get in on it.
They did?
Yes.
For this? Oh, I didn't know that. That's news to me.
I don't know how much you could make, but you never know. I mean,
Well, you
did
gotta
it
win
with Oviatt.
first.
As I understood it, when Mr. Bellish came forward, and this was when I was back a couple of months ago, he indicated that he was very, very concerned about the financial stability of the company itself. And as a result of that, you know, you can be chasing windmills as far as trying to do something in that regard.
It's hard, not as much fun to beat a piñata with no candy, so.
Yes, just mention your name and address.
Carmen Lodato, 222 Madison Street. I just have a question. If you pass this item, and let's say we did want to enter into a class action lawsuit, would this prohibit you from joining a class action lawsuit because you agreed to terminate the contract?
Today, I don't think so, since
Well,
it's
I
not an
guess
ordinance,
I would
right?
say
That's what
to you-
that's
Pardon?
what this is asking you to do. It's that the city, because they can go back and say, well, you voted to terminate it.
Well, I think that's a point to be taken.
I think the problem is, if we don't terminate this, I'm not sure we can enter into a new agreement. And that's what our broker, Mr. Bellish, is suggesting we do.
Realizing that if people get their own rates, that they can get it much cheaper than what
Well, I
the
don't-
aggregate is promising.
Well, I
Well-
mean, to be honest with you, that's always available, all right?
Right. You can always opt
Individuals,
out.
Even though there's aggregation,
So why aren't
individuals
these other
have the
cities
ability to
doing
go
it?
and do it on their own.
That is a good point. The only reason why we had, because the service director, you know, wanted to, you know, ask for us to end it, and we were just, because, you know, the frustration of what they did to our residents. But, I mean, if there's also a chance for us to recoup some money and at least find out about it, can this wait at least a week and do a special before our council? Before we do it, to give you a week time to find out if it's worth like what the other cities are doing, since we're just finding out about
Certainly
this?
investigate it, sure.
I would
Well-
ensure before you pass this particular item that it wouldn't stand in the way of joining a class action lawsuit. All right, that's about all my voice has.
Thank you for bringing that
And
up.
tonight,
Carmen.
we're not doing, the only action tonight would be to put this on the May agenda. So we'll have time to investigate it, and I think we can discuss it at that meeting, unless you just don't want to move it on, but that's up to council. Any other questions or comments?
Okay, so that would be in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to have the information before we actually vote on it to
And we
terminate
don't,
it.
well, yeah, okay,
I will go ahead and investigate that.
Thank you.
but just for the sake of timing, given how this is happening to us, my recommendation is to move this on. If we don't pass it, or you guys decide not to go this direction, then you can table, you can leave it on first reading, you can do any number of things, but we gotta limit our options if we stop it here.
I understand.
So what is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance?
Ordinance.
Let's not put this on the consent agenda. Next item is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of a backup generator at the Lovers Lane lift station. This is also utilities, Mr. Moskin?
Yes, this is for the lift station at Lover's Lane, which is if you're going out 88, it would be off to the right. And this is for the wastewater treatment facility. And that way, if the electric would
Did we turn off Frank's microphone?
would ever go down for any purpose, that way the generator would kick in. And then in the process, whenever this is done later this year, and there will be a natural gas hookup. And hopefully the price of that will be dropped somewhat. Just have to wait for that time span. But this will be months before this will be done.
Mr. Finney here? Oh, you're leaning.
Yes.
Does this require two separate contracts, one for gas and one for electric?
This,
Not to my knowledge.
I thought there was two installations.
No, it's only one installation. You just got a gas run and you got an electric run.
But the
They
same
already did the electric run and they're waiting for the gas company to do the gas run. So basically, it's all one project for the
But it doesn't
generator.
require two separate contracts with two different entities? Okay. Oh, okay.
Not that I know of. I mean, I just thought it was already
No, I remember in the
appropriated.
packet, I don't have it in front of me, that there were two separate stages, and one was for electric and one was for.
Well, the generator's from one company and the gas is different, but they're combined together.
And Enbridge has to come out and run the gas line. I mean,
Yes.
Ohio Edison had to run the, First Energy had to run the electric. I mean, we had somebody that had to do the drops for the actual transmission line into the actual station itself.
This ordinance is just to approve the purchase of the actual generator.
So,
Oh, is that all this was?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, never mind, sorry.
Well, I was just explaining what's going to power that, how that way there's nothing left.
All right, any other questions or comments? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
I'd like to put this in.
Consent.
Yes.
Next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Verdantis for backup flow services, and this is on our special for tonight as well. Mr. Moskin?
Yes, this is to assist with all the backflow services that's mandatory to be done by, I don't know the exact date, in July. But okay, thank you for that clarification. Which is hundreds of different backflows in a multitude of different facilities throughout the city. And
403 locations, 793 total devices that we have to do a control survey for.
okay, well,
Commercial side.
that helps.
And this is with just for Verdantis.
This is just for
and
Verdantis.
Two basic components. One is the inspections, and one is for them to do some of the work that our
Exactly.
people can't do.
GSI system, yes,
And just
exactly.
under 50,000, if I recall.
Exactly, 49,000 even.
Yes.
Okay. Other questions or concerns? Pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Would you like to put this in the consent agenda?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Quality Control Inspection, QCI. This is from Planning Committee, Ms. West.
And this is something that we do every year. We did not have to utilize this last year, but it is nice to have construction inspection services on hand just in case they're needed.
Anybody have any questions, concerns? It's the pleasure of the committee.
Ordinance, consent.
And consent agenda? Okay. Next item is an ordinance amending the zoning map to change the Reed Library parking lot from R4 to C1. This is Planning Committee, Ms. West.
And this was brought to us from the Planning Commission. They made the recommendation to rezone the library parcel to C1.
And there are three separate parcels?
Yes.
Two of them are already C1, and this is the one that's R4.
There's three separate zoning districts
Oh.
that the library property spans. And the ordinance you have in front of you is to change the zoning map to C1 exclusively.
What's the third?
R4, C1, Central Business District.
Is there any reason not to consolidate them all into one?
That's what we're doing.
That's
not what the ordinance
Well, you said
reads.
C1 and Central, is C1 Central Business District?
They're separate.
C1 is Commercial 1. So the west part of the library, the original, is Central Business District. And then the eastern portion of the library is C1.
I guess my only question is there any benefit to leaving the one odd, zoning district out? The
Well, we're
the
not
Central
leaving-
Business District?
So it's going to be central, why
You're
would
gonna have
we?
C1,
would
C1,
we
and Central
eliminate-
Business
Read
District.
how it's written. I
Yeah,
believe there
it's
was
only
an
written that
error.
we're changing the R4 to C1.
I believe there's an error in what the original request was.
Oh.
If you read it, it says ordinance amending the zoning map to change the Reed Library parking lot from R4 to C1. It does not mention the third parcel or zoning.
In the,
Oh, I know that.
The tracking
I'm just bringing it up as a
so the
throw a
tracking
wrench in the
sheet
whole thing.
does say to rezone the library parcels to C1, and it shows the map. So the
Well-
original tracking sheet is that.
We'll adjust the actual ordinance to reflect whatever part of the library property is being rezoned.
So-
All right, I'll take my question off the table.
Are we moving this forward
Well-
prior to public hearing?
Well, I think we do have to, if we're going to consider an ordinance, that's when we would have the public hearing. If we don't move it on, then I don't think there's any reason to have a public hearing.
Has to be an ordinance on the table, if I remember right.
Yeah, and once we put this on, assuming this does move forward, then it has to go through 3 readings anyway, right? Correct?
And a public hearing.
And the public hearing.
We
So
have
this
a
is-
comment.
Yeah, I know. I just want to
Okay,
make sure everyone on council has a chance to weigh in first.
I would like to see us wait until at least the comprehensive plan and zoning updates are completed before we do any more zoning changes. Just my opinion.
The comprehensive plan and rewriting the zoning? Is that
Not
what you're saying?
rewriting, updating. Just reviewing and updating.
So that could take
According to-
that could take 3-4 years.
This has been 20 years. Why are we
Yeah,
in a
that's-
rush now?
Good point. That is a good point. It was brought to our attention from a lawsuit. That's why we're discussing it.
And that's why I think it should stay the way it is until after the lawsuit is over. I feel anytime something is going on legally, you shouldn't mess with anything, but that would be my opinion. I know I'm not an attorney, but again, I don't think it's good judgment to do anything at this point until everything is over and then go ahead with, however the comprehensive plan comes out and then make any changes. I just think it's adding more problems than what we need. And I just think if it's been like this for 20 years, what is the rush? Why is there a rush to do this now? If there's something that you want to happen, then just be transparent and say, this is why we're doing it. Or if it's just to make it uniform, then that's fine. Wait till everything is settled.
Well, just to be
agree.
clear, procedurally, this is under consideration by council now because the planning commission voted to recommend, and was the vote unanimous?
Yes, it was.
So I mean,
But it's ultimately up to council, so.
no, it is. I'm saying that's why it's here. Whether, you consider it a rush or ill timing, I don't know. The only question I would ask in rebuttal of, well, there's a lawsuit pending, why does that make a difference?
It should.
But why?
I don't know. I think anytime you're dealing with something, I just think you're creating more problems. That's
Why?
my opinion.
I agree.
I mean.
Why
that-
rush it? If it's been like this for 20 years, why are we rushing
Again,
it?
it's been
Well, I changed my
recommended
oil
to.
more
Well,
than 20
because Mr.
years,
Finney
so-
took it to them to do it. That's the only
Well, I
reason why it
under
was
the impression the
recommended.
Library raised this.
Library filled the application out.
And look, I'm not trying to create
Well, you
a
are.
contention here. I'm just saying, if there's a reason not to move this forward, and the reason is based on the lawsuit, then that's assuming the outcome of the
The
lawsuit
lawsuit
has some
was not the
effect.
only reason given.
Okay, what other
I
reasons?
said comprehensive plan
Okay.
and zoning review and update. Zoning updates and reviews were the exact reason why we chose to do a comprehensive plan, because it is the basis of a zoning review and update legally. So I feel like since we are closer to the end of the comprehensive plan and can start quite soon on zoning review and update, this is an important thing for us to finish, complete, and follow through on. And once we do that, then we don't have to worry about spot zoning and changing zoning in different places. That is the reason we chose to do a comprehensive plan in the first place.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that in principle. The only exceptions I would make is this is one unit of land. It's not like, I mean.
That's
you
spot
could-
zoning.
Right, but I mean, but
Anytime-
it's within one entity.
One of the things that if you look
To
into.
make it more conforming.
and Bob, you can chime in on this. Isn't it considered an issue when you find, as a community, doing several zoning changes throughout a short period of time? because then it's time to update your zoning in your zoning map, because obviously things have changed and that zoning no longer works.
Sure, you could look at it that way.
Right, but I would also say the precedence here was just a few months ago, we rezoned.
The super good parcels.
Yeah, parcel of land to create a parking lot for the marijuana dispensary, and none of these issues were raised at the time. But again, I'm throwing these out there because I think we need to have a balanced discussion. I think the mayor made a really good point during his address that, we need to ferret these things out, okay?
this is
And
a-
I appreciate you bringing, both of you bringing these out. I just want to make sure we have a holistic
This is a 20-year-old
approach.
issue. The super good was a newer
Exactly.
issue because of
okay.
a newer business and the parcels that were needed when the recreational was added into the state law or state approvals.
So I have a question. If we don't move this forward, what does it change?
Nothing.
Nothing, supposedly.
And actually, Cheryl, what you've said in the meeting minutes will be entered into the lawsuit, that this component of the lawsuit is irrelevant until the comprehensive plan is. So what you said actually helps the city defend what is in that lawsuit. So
That's fine. That's
it's
what
going to work out well.
I'm here for the city. I'm looking out for the city's best interest, and I feel like moving this forward at this time, when there's currently a lawsuit and we have a comprehensive plan and possible zoning updates, it's not the time to change this after 20 years of it being like
And it
this.
actually, like I said, it'll actually help us defend that issue.
Yes.
That's the attorney.
All right.
That makes sense.
So, yeah, but so everyone understands, our law director suggested one, and that doesn't prohibit us from moving it on, by the way, that we do have a lawyer assigned to this lawsuit who could weigh in on the impact of doing this action now. And again, this is a lengthy process. It's going to take 3 months, 3 full readings, and a public hearing. So this isn't the end of the line, this is the beginning of the process. Does anybody else on council have anything they want to contribute to this discussion before we let the public?
Yeah,
weigh
I'm
in?
not in favor of moving it forward at this time either for all the reasons mentioned. And it would be nice if we could get legal input on this decision, whether it's going to affect anything pending or not, before we go any further.
Well, it was just mentioned that we could get that input.
I'd like that.
Me too.
My question is a procedural one, is if we're at this spot and people are expressing either yay or nay that they think that they should move it forward, is it appropriate to take a vote on whether we move it forward right now or not?
Yeah,
So that
but
everybody can get on record of what they feel about it.
Yes, that's what we'll do. I mean, normally I just ask, and there
Yes,
seems to be
okay.
consensus, unless somebody raises an objection, we can take a voice vote whether or not to move this forward, but I want to make
Okay.
sure we, have a full discussion and everyone has a chance to participate, including the public.
So could we move this just back to committee till we get some more information? I mean, is that just like we did with
I
the
think,
fire truck?
I think,
Yeah,
I think.
I think.
This is my interpretation of the process. We're not at a vote, right? There's no motion to approve this. And again, there wouldn't be one for several months. That's at the moment where you would make a motion to table something. This is just to whether or not we move it on. If we don't move it on, then I think it's really, in my opinion, it's up to the committee to see if they want to reinvestigate this. And you can bring it back, just like Ms. Michael's bringing back the fire truck to her committee. I don't think we need to vote or make an action to table something at this stage. We just, if we don't move it on, then it can die, and never be heard from again, or it can resurface through the committee process. Anybody else on council have a comment or concern? Ms. Miller, you're okay? Okay. Anybody else wish to speak to this? Because I know this, look, it's the library. It affects so many people, as, was mentioned by the mayor in his address. Okay, good, come on up.
Not just Cynthia Miller, 727 East Main Street. We have a property at 309 East Main Street. It doesn't just affect the library. One of the things that concerns me about this is spot zoning. That is a huge incursion of a C1 into an R4 district. I think you need to go to committee and look at all zoning again in the city. When you look at that zoning map, that R4 is there for a reason, because those used to be residential homes surrounded by residential homes. Now it's a library parking lot surrounded by residential homes. Needs to stay R4. Thank you,
You're welcome.
regardless of the lawsuit, up or down.
Okay. All right, so there's no more discussion. Go ahead and give us a roll call to see whether or not we want to move this forward to the May regular meeting.
Mr. Kelfy?
Yes.
Ms. West?
No.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes, with further legal remarks.
Ms. Wood?
No.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
No.
Mr. Harper?
No.
Well, there's not enough votes to move this on, so whatever happens from now on will be up to the committee if it wants to reinvestigate or, yeah. Okay, we will move on. We have one more item on the agenda, an ordinance to approve the Tax Incentive Review Council, TIRC, meeting minutes. This is from Community and Economic Development. Ms. Wood?
Yes, again, this is housekeeping. We do this every year. We are still waiting on the written minutes to come from the Portage County Development Board for us to take a look at, but we did have Brian in attendance as well as Dennis. They kind of gave us a brief update as to the properties in our CRA and enterprise zones that were discussed, and everything's in compliance.
Just the formality.
So it's a formality. I do recommend at least moving this forward to next week's agenda, and hopefully we have the minutes to actually look at sometime this week before next week.
Going to have them.
We should have no problem having them.
By
She
the
said-
May meeting?
She said by early this week, and she was off for the Easter holiday, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not early enough. All right, so the council, the committee can vote to move this on to the May agenda. It's on the special that'll follow this meeting. But since we don't have the minutes, we can just leave it on first reading, and it'll be second reading.
Tammy,
in
what
May.
is the deadline to have the
We are good
ordinance
if
to?
if we pass it at the meeting, the first
In
meeting in
May?
May, we'll be fine.
Okay, perfect. I just didn't want to miss a state deadline.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, any other questions or comments? What's the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Ordinance for May.
Ordinance for May 2nd, do you want to put that on the consent agenda?
Yeah,
Yes,
at that point,
Yes.
I think it'd be fine.
All right, that concludes our business for the committee of the whole. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned. Now I'd like to reconvene. We can keep this rolling, maybe? Okay, we'll keep it rolling for those tuning in from home. I'd like to reconvene the special meeting, and we still have two items on the special meeting agenda. The first is ordinance 2025-45.
An ordinance authorizing the service director to enter into a contract with Verdantis Consultants to perform a backflow program assessment and inspection project and appropriating $49,000 from Fund 670.
This is from the Utilities Committee, Mr. Moskin.
Yes, I don't know, for some reason I thought this was for the mayor to enter into the contract. But this is what we had already spoken about a short while ago, or for Dandis to enter into that contract.
Oh, so, we're authorizing the service director to, I guess we can, is that okay with you,
That's how the
Mayor?
contract reads, if you give the approval.
Okay. So it's just what we discussed a
Yeah.
short while ago.
Any questions?
Nothing changed.
Concerns?
Nope.
Okay, do we have a motion to waive the three separate readings?
So moved.
Yes.
Second.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfy?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
And a motion to adopt the emergency clause, bless you.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfy?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Wood, or Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to approve the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfy?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
That ordinance stands approved. The next ordinance is ordinance number 2025-46.
An ordinance accepting the recommendations and minutes for the City of Ravenna Tax Incentive Review Council for the 2024 Enterprise Zone Compliance Reports attached here too as Exhibit A and declaring an emergency.
Sponsored by Community and Economic Development, Ms. Wood.
Since there's no Exhibit A, I would like to hold this on the agenda for the May meeting.
Okay. Does anybody have an objection to that?
No.
Okay, then
Makes sense.
we will put this on the May 2nd agenda and not vote on it tonight. That concludes this special meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.